right, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Okay, guys, I'm going to go through a couple of articles on Mexico and bring you up to date with what's going on down there. It's a lot going on, believe me. The person you're looking at is Genaro Garcia Luna. He was the former public security minister of Mexico. He was the right-hand man to a former president down there, and he was the equivalent of their FBI. This was the equivalent of their FBI. He is now in federal prison here in Texas, getting ready to stand trial for money laundering and taking bribes, drug trafficking as well. This is related to what's going on now in Mexico because now Obama's officials are being brought up into this. You guys are going to want to see this. This is very interesting. This is dated May the 4th. Mexico urges U.S. to probe of all officials with ties to ex-minister. Okay, this was a drug trafficker. Mexico's president on Monday urged Washington to investigate all officials, including members of elite U.S. law enforcement agencies, with ties to a former Mexican security official accused of taking bribes from a top drug gang. That's this guy. What he's saying is, you guys investigate the CIA, I want you to investigate the FBI, I want you to investigate the DEA, because all of them were involved in this. This is very, very interesting. The arrest of ex-security minister Genaro Garcia Luna in Dallas last year sent shockwaves across Mexico. I actually covered this story as it happened. It was one of my first stories on my YouTube channel, where he had spearheaded a militarized assault on powerful drug gangs, beginning under former President Felipe Calderon in 2006. He was his top advisor to the President of Mexico, who was Felipe Calderon at the time. Garcia Luna was subsequently indicted on charges of accepting millions of dollars in bribes from the Sinaloa cartel, the gang once led by El Chapo Guzman. El Chapo Guzman's information that he gave to U.S. officials is what arrested Luna. That's why he's in prison. He wasn't extradited. He was already living here in the U.S. He moved here when Obama was president, and that's where we're getting to. Speaking at his regular morning news conference, President Obrador called for a wide-ranging inquiry, suggesting that such investigation could uncover wrongdoing by more than one official. Trump is putting so much pressure on them. He's putting so much pressure on them. What they're saying is, if you guys want to arrest my officials, you better check on your side of the border too, because they're just as guilty. That's what he's saying. The U.S. government now that it has begun an investigation, should delve deeper and also investigate officials with the DEA, the CIA, and the FBI, Obrador said. The investigation should uncover all those who intervened during the period because without a doubt, there was cooperation, the president said. How could there not be cooperation in such a large drug operation that's been going on for over 30 years? Okay, I'm going to bring you up to date, and we're going to get into Obama's officials, and then we're going to get out of here. This is yesterday, May the 10th. Mexico president calls for investigation into Obama officials' Fast and Furious operation. Again, he's going back now. This goes back a little ways. But what he's saying is, he's under pressure. Trump wants him to send up officials so he can put them in jail. And so what he's saying is, if you guys want me to do that, you better start with your side also. Your side is not clean either. The Mexican government is asking Washington for cooperation in discovering how Operation Fast and Furious happened. And for those young people, you probably missed Fast and Furious because this was Obama, and you know the media didn't cover any of this, or at least they swept most of it under the rug. Mexico's president asked the United States for answers and an apology for Obama-era gun running operation known as Fast and Furious. On Friday, Mexico President Obrador called for an investigation into Operation Fast and Furious to prevent it from happening again. What seems serious to me is that a violation of our sovereignty was carried out, a secret operation, and that Mexicans were killed with these weapons, Obrador said during a press conference. How could this be? A government that invades in this way, that flagrantly violates sovereignty and international laws. We have to shine a light on this so that an action of this type never will be carried out again. This time, the U.S. this is the time for the U.S. to apologize, the Mexican president said. Now, I'm going to go through Operation Fast and Furious real fast, and I'm going to show you a clip of Obama's officials talking about it. They were all up to their necks in selling guns to Mexican cartels. Operation Fast and Furious was a strategy created to assist the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives to combat Mexican drug cartels. Between 2009 and 2011, the Phoenix Field Division of the ATF would allow and track illegal sale of approximately 2,000 firearms worth $1.5 million. The weapons from Operation Fast and Furious would end up being used to kill hundreds of Mexicans and at least one American Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the clip real fast. I'm going to cut this as fast as I can. Here's Obama's officials talking about this, okay? It's very important that we understand this because Trump is getting really into this. Some people are getting ready to go to jail for the drug trafficking and the money laundering. And so it's important for us to go back and see where all this started.
I want to discuss an issue that's very important to the president this morning. The steps we are taking on both sides of the border, working with our Mexican partners to support the Mexican government's campaign against the violent cartels and to reduce contraband in both directions across the border. Today, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, Deputy Secretary of State Jim Steinberg, and U.S. Deputy Attorney General David Ogden will lay out the administration's comprehensive response to the situation along the border with Mexico, and we'll take a few questions.
Under the President's leadership and
talking about Obama.
Together with the State Department and DHS, the Department of Justice stands ready to take the fight to the Mexican drug cartels. The President has directed us to take action to fight these cartels, and Attorney General Holder and I are taking several new and aggressive steps as part of the administration's comprehensive plan.
You see, Holder's name is going to start coming up soon, too. You'll be seeing a lot more of Holder in the news very soon.
Those steps include the following. DOJ's Drug Enforcement Administration, which already has the largest U.S. drug enforcement presence in Mexico, with 11 offices in that country, is placing 16 new DEA positions in Southwest border field operations, specifically to target Mexican trafficking and associated violence. DOJ's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is increasing its efforts by adding 37 new employees in 3 new offices, using $10 million in Recovery Act funds, and redeploying 100 personnel to the southwest border in the next 45 days to fortify its Project Gunrunner, which is aimed at disrupting arms trafficking between the United States and Mexico. ATF is doubling its presence in Mexico itself, from 5 to 9 personnel working with the Mexicans specifically to facilitate gun tracing activity which targets the illegal weapons and their sources in the United States.
Okay, guys, we're going to cut it off there. I just wanted to let you guys see this. I've been doing this since the early 90s, and I have never seen a president get this deep into this. Trump is doing tremendous work with these people. He's not only harassing people on the Mexican side of the border, but some people on the American side of the border are getting ready to go to jail too.